Welcome to the real journey of the entrepreneur. The journey of any entrepreneur begins with a decision, then writing down your vision, then the execution of that vision. It is not for the faint of heart. It is for those who understand how powerful your mind is and that you can truly create the life that you deserve. It does require a unique formula that includes belief in yourself, a lot of consistency, connecting with an OG, a lot of tears, missing out on a few events and things, and taking a whole lot of risks that will allow you to see your vision and dream come to pass. This journey of the entrepreneur is from the perspective of a wonderful mother, a business owner, whose goal is to break generational barriers and normalize the process of wealth building and financial wellness through entrepreneurship, all while creating a social and give back along the way. I am sharing this journey with you and invite you to share this process with me. Let's do this together. It's my own, but you have to feel comfortable to own it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I will always support you.
Thank you.
Welcome to our 4th annual Full Circle Business Brunch.
This room is small enough but big enough that you can connect with someone. And that is the intention of the Full Circle Business Brunch experience. Being in business is not a competition. We all can win at all levels.
We come from a lot of poverty. How do you break out of a scarcity mindset as a small business?
If you keep it positive, positive will always keep you. The idea that I'm always broke, I never have enough money. You can easily say, I don't have enough money yet. And that changes how you then move forward with your next financial decision.
I'm here to help educate you all on things that you may not have known about, because we find that there's a lot of suffering that goes on when people don't know about stuff.
When you're entering into a business relationship, it's still a relationship. So you want to maintain a good rapport with whoever it is that you're transacting with. You're hiring an attorney to not only protect you, but to also be the bad guy in certain situations.
We can help you connect to people who are looking for jobs. We have 200,000 people in our job bank. We're here to help the businesses out there. We're doing really the heavy lifting in our economy.
This is my 4th time attending this event. Each year it gets better and better. And it's really inspiring to see what she's doing for the community and working with the youth.
Why I wanted to start my business is because my mom was working too hard, right? I want to have my own business, my own clothing to wear on the street.
This is an amazing, amazing event with lots of knowledge for business owners, business starters, and just who's thinking about getting in the industry. Hope this continues to be an annual event for those who want to learn more about business and get into the business space.
Thank you for being a part of this transformational experience.
A brighter day tomorrow will bring. Oh.
Woo, 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 woo. I gotta tell you, this is one of those things where after you see the work that was accomplished for the 4th annual Full Circle Business Brunch, it lets me know and confirms that I am doing okay. Welcome to the real journey of entrepreneurship. My name is Anita Pierce, and I'm so ecstatic to have you join us for another episode of the real journey of entrepreneurship. And I have to tell you that, I've watched the video that you just saw a couple of times, and it still reminds me that I still have a lot more work to do on this journey. But I'm so grateful to have had to share time and space during that business brunch. Within 11375, we provide comprehensive business solutions for small businesses. We're committed and really focused on a level of intentionality when we are working with small businesses. We offer a wide range of services that can help bring businesses to the next level. And one of the ways that we try to connect and engage is through specific events, namely the Full Circle Business Brunch Experience, where we bring together entrepreneurs to ensure that they have opportunities to connect with like-minded individuals, to learn, and also to noodle on some food, and also to leave with, some things that can help them and tools that will help them within their business. And that's the full intention of that space. We believe in the power of community engagement and also really focusing on learning from one another. I can tell you, being in business for 9.5 years now, my 10 years is coming up in September. So I'm hoping that you will join me in celebrating this specific opportunity that I have been able to share with the world. I can tell you, just from my short experience being in this space, that entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. But I can tell you that if you are being consistent, honest, and being authentic with yourself, that definitely is something that is doable. I consider myself extremely successful, extremely successful. I'm a Brownsville born native. And women like me were not typically supposed to survive that environment. But I can tell you that I am so grateful for, just having the courage to dream. And what does that look like? I originally transitioned from a corporate environment, did significant amount of volunteer work, also served on community boards, but also had the courage to live out this thing within 11375. So I'm so excited to have you join today and to witness, what being a courageous entrepreneur looks like. It's a day by day, step by step, lots of prayer, lots of prayer for me, and also ensuring that I am honoring and being obedient by designing, spaces that will focus in specifically on businesses and to help them to get to their next level. And my next guest is no different. I say this wholeheartedly, that I have the best seat in the house. I don't care. We're not in the garden. We're not anywhere else, but we're in the best seat. I have the best seat because I have the opportunity to interview courageous, bold, brave, beautiful entrepreneurs who are stepping in this space as well, but also living out their dreams. So I am excited, right? Because I know you know my next guest because you like, share, and follow them on all the social platforms. The founder and CEO of Destiny Helpers Outreach, Miss TrudyAnn Williams. I'm going to just bring to the stage because I know you are not really tired of seeing me, but I'm going to bring along a friend. Hi, TrudyAnn.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me today. It is truly a pleasure, and I appreciate the opportunity to share with your audience, what I've learned as an entrepreneur in the nonprofit space.
Oh, so TrudyAnn, do tell how you got started. You said nonprofit because I also want to tell you, all friends and family, that being a nonprofit is also a business.
It is. And I want to say, growing up, I grew up in Tivoli Gardens in Jamaica. And being from that island, from that community in particular, I was told by several people that I interacted with that, oh, I don't want to be friends with you, or I don't want to have anything to do with you because nothing good comes from your neighborhood. It was stigmatized as the mother of all garrisons, the hood of all hoods, as you would say here in the United States. And so, growing up, I saw a lot of young girls getting pregnant at a very young age. And I saw a lot of young men, their lives got caught up in the gangs. And I came to the United States as, I want to say, an adolescent still, but I was more, mature at this point. And when I came, I had the opportunity to go to church in Brownsville, and I saw the very same thing happening. I saw so many teenage girls pushing strollers with babies, and I was like, oh my God, like, is that your baby? Because I was curious. I was coming to this place that is, it's the dream to get here. And so I didn't anticipate finding that young people here were experiencing the same things that I experienced in a third world country. And so I started to do research, and I was like, oh my God, one in every 10, one in every 32, 32 out of every 1,000 is having a baby. Like, what in the is happening here? And I thought, at 10, I wrote an article about teen pregnancy and about children needing to take a stand because we have a voice, and the people who we trust to take care of us, they're obviously not. They're abusing us, and our lives are changing. And so I said, well, young girls like to feel beautiful. And so a pageant, because I've seen it done in my neighborhood growing up, made young girls feel beautiful, but it also gave them an opportunity to showcase more than just the average person you see walking by. And I tried to do that. So I became a young girl with a vision, and I was walking around and just like sharing this vision with folks. And somebody, Johnny Mae Robinson, like my angel, my personal angel, she said to me, well, let me tell you, Trudy, if you don't have an organization, if you don't have a business, people like to give into business and organizations, not individuals, because individuals don't necessarily have a reputation. There's nothing there, right? And she said, you better go sit down and figure out an organization, because that's how you're going to move it. At the time when she was telling me this, and she didn't even know this at this point, I was living in the shelter in the Bronx with my son, who was about 2.5 years old at the time. And I'm like, okay, God, listen, I'm in the shelter. I'm at the lowest of the lowest in my life right now. And you need to think about organization, not for profit at that. Like, come on, bro. Because this is how I talk to God. Like, come on, like, really? And I fasted because I knew it was something burning inside me that I was pregnant with it. And I had to release this baby. And I fasted, and I said, God, what's the name? What's the direction? What's the logo? How am I going to do this? I don't have the network. I don't have any connections. I didn't go to school here. I'm not a part of any sororities. How am I going to do this? And I just remember God saying, if I give you the vision, I will make the provisions as long as you keep me at the center of it all. And I fasted, and I got the name Destiny Helpers Outreach Inc. And I said, okay, I got the name. What next? What next to do? And I met some amazing people, Sharon Devonish Lead, some people in those initial stages LaShawn Muhammad, yourself, Miss Anita, who really poured into me, not knowing me, not having any knowledge of anything about me, but you saw the hunger that I had, you saw the passion that I had, and you knew the intentionality behind the work that I had to offer, and you all poured into me. And community has been such a tremendous part of the success that Destiny Helpers have had. We're going to be 6 years old come April 24th. And so I'm just so excited that we've had 6 years of impact and 6 years just great learning. It has been a lot of learning for me. A charity is different from a nonprofit. If we're going to talk business here, you need to understand, even though you're a nonprofit, you need to make a profit, okay? Because your business cannot be sustainable. It cannot thrive unless you are making a profit. The difference in regulation is just that your profit cannot be used to benefit yourself as the CEO, right? That's the only difference. But you need to make a profit. You need to have a staff. You need to have interns. You need to have like, it's the same structure, just different IRS regulations, and that's the only difference.
Wow. Okay. So where do I launch from there? So you started Destiny Helpers Outreach Inc. as a result of you solving or seeking to solve a problem. How did you start with funding? Like, where'd you get funding from the start?
Listen, I was taking my own money or just taking in-kind donations, space donations. That's how we got it done. Like, people donating their expertise, their time, their space, their product. That's how we honestly got this thing done. We have not been grant funded since we have been in existence. No, we have not. It has been private funders who have just been so sold on the mission and the vision behind the work, and they have poured themselves wholeheartedly into this. Structuring is what I am focusing this fiscal year on, getting the right footing, because I felt like I started April, the pageant happened in July, and then I just kept doing the work and not taking time to lay that solid foundation for board, staff, and all of that. So this year, I have been very intentional about pulling back and just setting the groundwork in motion. So we're doing our board recruitment at this point. Launched a pageant committee recruitment, and I got some amazing people to come on board, and they have been, tremendous in helping me to steer the boat in the right direction. Because you can have a good business, but if you want to go from good to great, you need the right people to take that ship, to steer the ship in the right direction. And so I'm grateful to now find community, and people who are driven by the mission, and they want to see it move from that baby stage to becoming a full grown child, where it can flourish and stand on its own. So this year we are really setting that in motion, where we're thinking about who's on the ship with us steering, and what does that look like, looking at grants and which ones we can go for. Because for me, I have not had like income or donations amounting over $150,000. So I never thought about doing a 990N form. I've always just done the postcard. But now I'm learning, okay, if you want to be eligible for funding, you better fill that 990N form whether you make over 150 or not, because that's just a requirement. So I'm learning as I go. And like I said, I'm just grateful for community and for the people who are helping to guide me along this journey.
What are some of the best practices that you think, being that you've been in this space now for 6 years, there is learnings within this space, but so what are some of the best practices that you execute, just based upon what you have learned so far in starting a nonprofit?
Best practices, I always want to have transparency. It is important when you're running a nonprofit to be transparent with your board, and to be transparent with your funders, to be transparent with your sponsors, your partners, everybody who's involved. It's important that you are clear as to what you're doing and how you're doing it, right?
Mhm.
Because when you develop that trust, that retains those people, and it builds the relationships which you need as a nonprofit or any business. It's very important for us to have great relationships. Second thing that I am big on is the ethics of things. You have to be ethical in your approach. You have to be above board. Let nothing let don't have secret motives or intent. Like if you know that you're coming in on a certain level, just be clear about that, because people can see through things. So when you're not authentic, when you're not being true, like at some point the mask drops, and when people see the real thing, they're like, "Oh my God, I didn't know." So just out the gate, be ethical, right, about what you're doing, and be accountable and approach things. Understand that each person is different, right? And they're at different levels of their journey in life, right? And you have to show empathy. You have to have grace, right? This work is not, like you said, for the faint of heart. Manage your expectations, because they are not you. So do not expect your responses or your behaviors or your styles from them, but still have a space at the table where folks that are a part of your team can grow, right? Do not take away their individuality, but talk to them in a way that they can see, okay, maybe there's a different approach, maybe there's a different way, right? And so those are some of the things that I do when I'm serving, when I'm interacting with folks. I just try to be as clear, as ethical, accountable for the things that I'm doing, and making space for people and not having expectations that, I would have of myself, of anyone, because that's too much pressure.
But the pressure allows you to get to what you are purposed in.
So you have to find people who are already in alignment with your mission and your vision. They're going almost in the same direction, or if not the same direction, they are on the same road, and they can show you different ways of executing that vision, right? If you're polar opposites, if you are all about service to community, and the service that you provide, you want it to be at a certain level. And when you observe, I don't listen with my ears. I hear you, but I also listen with my eyes, because your actions tell me the real story. Because how you operate, how you move, that is a really big thing. Like it tells me, okay, we're going to butt heads down the road, or we're going to be able to work smoothly together. And there may be differing opinions. However, based on how you operate, it tells me that you understand that servant leadership is what we promote here. We're leaders, but we're also servants. So servant leadership, if that's a quality that you recognize when you're serving with folks. And you can't want to lead and not serve, because we're here to serve. Leaders are servants. You're serving a need. You're serving people. It's always about service.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you to expound on that, because, what I see, you're talking from a perspective of which I understand about, servant leadership, and what does that really look like? How do you transition that into spaces that are not familiar with what servant leadership looks like?
Great question. My approach is, I look at every individual. I want to say, like I looked at myself, and it took a lot out of me to get to this point, right? We all have had our own individual experiences. We've all had our traumas. We all have things that we're working through. And sometimes how those things present itself, it may not be well, right? How people show up, how they speak is because of how they've had to maneuver spaces. I was once harsh, if I could be totally transparent with you. I felt like my tone gave off like an arrogance to it.
Mm.
And it's not until I went into therapy and started to take care of me that I was able to show up better in spaces, right? And so when I go into spaces, I'm not critical of people because I don't know who they are. When we start to have these conversations, then we start to understand each other, and then we can say, okay, well, this may be the hard truth, but there's another way to present the hard truth. We just came out of Easter, right? Judas was at the table, Peter was at the table, and Jesus knew everyone who sat at the table, but he never dismissed Judas, right? So you have to learn how to work with different types of people. They may be going against the grain, they may make things more difficult, but sometimes those things happen because it also opens up your perspective and it opens up conversation to happen. Because as a good leader, right, when you see that there's someone on your team who is having particular issues, you don't have to address it in the open. You can ask that person, can we have a private conversation? And when you're meeting one on one with that person, you say, several times this has come up. I'm not sure what's happening for you, but it kind of causes this to happen in this space. I want to have an understanding as to why this is happening and if there's anything that this organization can do to help you to get beyond that barrier. If we cannot and we have tried and exhausted everything, it's just best that we part ways if we cannot come to a mutual understanding. But definitely you want to reach out one on one. You want to figure out where that person is and how you can support them. And people do appreciate that. So, that's something that I do. If there's, I have, like, I had a meeting last year with my board because I recognized that they were not as active, like I wasn't getting much responses. And I said, let's meet for brunch and let's talk. And, that's when they started to say, wow, I'm going through this personally. It's a lot for me. And, it's not that I don't want to serve. I just don't think I'm in the best place. And I'm like, I appreciate this because now I know what I need to do because I want you to be your best self. Right. And it means nothing. It doesn't affect our relationship. I'm not taking it personally. Right. And I hope you don't too. But this is the course that we have to take because I cannot put the organization on hold while you fix whatever is happening or deal with whatever is happening. But what you can do is you can volunteer when you can at events and support how you can when you have the cadence. You always have a place here, a space here, but in terms of sitting on the board, we're going to have to start to look at other folks who may have the capacity to do what is needed to drive the growth. It's having tough conversations, honestly. They're not easy, but they are necessary.
So it sounds like you having conversations over food to kind of ease up, some
Yeah,
of.
making entertain like we have more women on our board than we have men, and so women like to get dressed up. They like to go out. They like to make a event out of everything. So board meetings, like just having one-on-one, sometimes it's easier to have over brunch because it's not in a boardroom where they feel like, oh, it's so stereotypical of these spaces that it requires this professional type thing, and you have to use certain language. But when you're at brunch and you're eating and you're just laid back, it allows people to have a relaxed approach. It's not hard. It's less intense.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I like to eat, so I guess I'm next, huh?
Yes. Yes.
So, in discovering the pageant
Mhm.
that you have curated successfully over the past few years, how do you find that that impacts the participants, the members, the families? What does that look like that you can share with us?
So they essentially, the participants in the pageant essentially become my kids,
Mm.
because I grow so close to them, working with someone for 6 months, seeing them every weekend, hearing their voice, hearing the things that they're not able to share with their own parents, their own family, their own loved ones, but they find comfort in sharing and being themselves around me. um, I always get emotional at the end. Last year was my most emotional year yet. And that's because I had a really small group, and we just became so close at the start. Some of them, they would not talk. They would just put the hoodie over their heads and slide into a chair. And, you're there and you're pouring yourself. You have facilitators come in, they're pouring in, and in your mind, you're like, is this having any impact at all? And then when you are getting to the end where they get to express themselves through the fashion and being on stage and practicing a opening piece that we all did together, it's really life changing to hear parents after the pageant message you throughout the work that you're doing. They're messaging you and saying, wow, my son or my daughter is now so confident. They're now advocating for themselves. They're now, doing things that we never thought they would do. The confidence level, when you see that change, when you can experience them in a special way, and now you become so you're so intertwined or interwoven into their lives, that's when you know that positive change and transformation is happening. And that's what I see each and every year. It's a safe space where young people come and they're able to express themselves. Many of them at home, they don't think they have a voice, and everything I'm doing, I'm like, I need to hear you. I need to hear you. I need you to know what your voice sounds like, because your voice is powerful. You have life and death in you. And
Mm.
whatever you speak, you will manifest. So it has been a great journey for us in that regard. And or success, I want to say none of the participants that we have worked with from 2019 through to 2024, none of them have become teenage parents.
Mm.
None of them have dropped out of high school. None of them are in the juvenile system. None of them are not doing well in school. They, a lot of them who graduate high school, they have matriculated to college. Adiaki Clark, which is our first winner, 2019, she went to USC and she graduated with her bachelor's in media and productions. And she also interned with the Biden Harris administration. She interned with Samsung, and she's out here trailblazing, and doing wonderful things. Shanice Baptist Peters, she's at Howard University right now. We have another young lady, she's at Baruch. We have students at John Jay. We have York College, and we have all the way up in SUNY Morrisville, a student who's pursuing auto mechanics and electrical engineering. So, our participants are doing well, and we want to continue to stay in touch with them and to keep up with what they're doing. They come back and they give to community. And so we know that we have done something right, because when young people want to serve, and honestly, they do want to serve. It's just providing them with the opportunities, making experiences fun. I'm all about experiences. So being able to create these wonderful experiences for them and do these things have been the best parts of the work.
So I am sharing currently your website, and there was a couple of photos that come up with as you are connecting, and I see joyfulness, happiness, beautiful brown souls whose lives that you're impacting. And I'm curious about how do you, as the founder, executive director, manage yourself and personal care? Because I know that you are a mom, and I also know that this work that typically women, I don't want to use that as like, the only definition, but we do serve community. When we impact one, we are supporting community. So how do you care for yourself throughout this process?
So I have therapy every Wednesday. Every Wednesday. Wednesday is my USA day from morning to night. That's my one day out of the week. It's the middle of the week. I go to therapy. I also love to take walks. Walks in nature is, you just lift your head and you express gratitude, you listen for the birds. It is so life-giving. I don't know if that works for anyone else, but like just going to the park, it doesn't have to be a track, you don't have to run, you don't have to exercise. Just walking in nature and expressing gratitudes. When you listen to the birds, there are certain sound waves that it sends to your brain that is just healing. I also do earthing. So I love to place my feet barefooted on the ground, right? There's something about that that is just so healing for me. I do write. I do write. So I journal. And sometimes I just take myself on a solo date. Like it's okay to go out by yourself. It's okay to do things by yourself. It's okay when you're overwhelmed to stop. You don't have to do it all in one day. You don't have to do it all in one week, and ask for help when you really need it. Ask for help. That was something tremendously hard for me to do. And that's because I just had my own trust issues. Like, I find it hard to trust people. If I meet somebody, my mind starts to overthink, and I'm like, what is their motive? Why are they trying to get close to me? What do they really want? And it may not be that, And so taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, spiritually, it's very important, right? To not experience the burnouts, because I've definitely been there where I just flat out, I just had to lay on the couch. It's like I could not get up. Nothing was holding me down, but my body just said enough is enough. And it just failed me. And that was like my turning point. Um, like being honest with myself, like, you're not okay. And if you're honestly not okay, how do you expect that you're going to pour into others? You may think that you're pouring, but what if it's causing more hurt than it's healing them and doing what you actually set out to do? So I had to really take a step back and check in with my own body, because our body speaks. Um, I now know that there are emotional centers in my body. So when my shoulders get too heavy, I have to stop and think: Are you carrying the weight of people, or is it all having to do with you? And if it has to do with me, okay, well, you need to sit and process this. You can't keep busy to not deal with the things that are happening. Like, that means that you're trying not to be realistic. And so you can't, being busy all the time it doesn't mean that you're being successful or impactful. It doesn't, right? We need to center, refocus. All of us has to do it. Self-evaluate. Yeah.
Yeah, so I really like how you designated now a day, to really take time to do check-ins. Um, and you defined it like what works best for you. So, oftentimes when we're thinking about self-care, I get people, I'm going for a mani-pedi. That don't work for me. Like that for me, not a thing for me. I need to be, for my practices of self-care, is complete silence. When I mean complete silence, it's complete silence. And because I do have a young CEO who is the real CEO of 11375, I have to tell you that my complete silence sometimes comes at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, where it's when I mean complete silence, it's complete silence.
Yeah.
And so, as an entrepreneur, and serving in the role of duality, motherhood, maybe you're in a relationship or married or some other thing, you are serving a community.
Yeah.
It is important, and especially not optional these days. Excuse me. Especially these days, not to overlook caring for yourself,
Hmm.
because the work that you are purposed to do is important.
Hmm.
It's needed. It's necessary. So if you're not healthy, right? Healthy, you know, connecting the dots, they say health is wealth, but I say health deals with connecting to your purpose. And for me, understanding that, and applauding you for just tapping into your inner being
Yeah.
to let you know that I need to continue this work. That's important. So I wanted to salute you on that. I don't know if you wanted to add more.
Yeah. Just want to encourage entrepreneurs to rest. Rest is extremely important. Listen to your body. It does speak to you, and learn what it's saying, and take care of it, because serving and running businesses and managing personal professional life, and sometimes we're running businesses and we also work for someone else, you know um so there's the pressure of working for someone, there's the pressure of running your business and making an income from that, and taking care of self, taking care of family. You must rest. Ask for help. It is tremendous. You have community. All of us, there's a community for us. There's a tribe for us. And not because you see your posts don't get certain engagement or shares or whatever, it doesn't mean that you're not visible. It doesn't mean that you're not having success. Do not get caught up in the new ways that people are so-called saying that they are successful. Having 20 million followers does not mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It just means people follow you for whatever reason they choose to, but it doesn't mean that you are successful or not successful. So don't.
Okay. Now you talking my language. Now you're talking my language.
Yeah, yeah, really. Last year, I went to Texas, and I thought this conference was the biggest thing in the world, right? And every Uber I went into, when I went into the town to get food or something, and I kept asking people, they were like, "What is that? What conference is that?" And I was like, "But this person is like mega on social media, like this is," and in their own state, they were not known by local people. And that just hit me like, wow, having followers, having all this engagement on social media, it's no indicator of whether your business is doing great or not, honestly.
That's a word. That is a word. That is a word. And no shots of shame, because we still need social media to help to promote and get out the word. But that is not the only way, from my perspective, that you are making impact. I do want to share, I know that you said that you were celebrating um,
Yes, 6 years.
6.
Yes, come April 24th, we will be turning 6. It's been 6 years. And, we currently are recruiting for our 2025 cohort for Mr. and Miss Teen Destiny Changer NYC pageant. So, teens, this one is for you. Parents, you want to get your teens involved, because guess what? We want them to show up as their authentic self, and this program does that. They will learn new skills. They will develop self-confidence. They will get to show off their talents and their gifts. And if they're heading off to college, guess what? We got you with a scholarship. And they are going to become ambassadors. You're going to see a difference. This is a life-changing experience. It is fun. It is engaging. They will go out for workshops. We will do excursions, and they will get to connect with other amazing young people, and it will just revolutionize everything. So go sign up.
If you are watching by video, you can scan the QR code. We will be sharing this frequently to our network, because this is one of the organizations that we trust and believe in. And we know the direct impact that this is having on members within community. And so for more information, you can text Destiny Changer to 631-352-6615. And for more information, you can definitely check out the website for more information. So TrudyAnn.
Yes.
I got a couple more questions for you, right? Because I've thoroughly enjoyed just your passion about the work that you are engaging in. And I know it's not easy. So I know you're doing well, making it look easy, but I know that it's not easy. In 3 years, where do you see your organization going in 3 years?
So in 3 years, in 3 to 5 years to be exact, we would love to open the Destiny Arena, and this is going to be a multi-purpose space where young people could come for various skills training. They can come in to do shows. There will be classroom spaces and event spaces. It will just be a mecca where creativity can be explored, and we also would love to open our own home for young people, because while there is juvenile centers, I do not believe that punishment is the same as discipline. And so we want to open a space for these young people who feel like, they're misunderstood. They are not quite, fitting in. Their behaviors have made labels be put on them. And we want to have this space where we can rehabilitate them and we can pour into them and provide wraparound services for them so that they can become the best version of themselves. No child is born bad. Bad decisions does not make a person bad, right? And so if they have the right guidance, the right support, the right people, they can be successful, we believe, wholly into that. And so 3 to 5 years, we want to expand even the pageant to different cities, different states. We want to take this worldwide.
Awesome. So where could we find you? We can find you on the social platforms, but of course, and also tell us where we can find you specifically.
So we're on Instagram. That's where we do a lot of our posts, because based on analytics, we saw that this is where we have most engagement. So we do a lot on Instagram at Destiny Helpers Outreach. We also have a TikTok. We have a LinkedIn page, and we have a YouTube channel. So we're on X as well, so you can find us over there on Twitter. So we're on all the social media platforms. We even have a Snapchat, we have WhatsApp, so like we are everywhere. But if you want to stay up to date, like, or post on Instagram, we'll definitely keep you up to date. And just feel free to reach out to us if you want to partner with us, if you want to sponsor, if you want to just offer your expertise, your time, however you want to support. Let's connect and let's make it happen.
Okay, awesome. So this was joyful, but I also wanted to share that in order to continue the work, donations are really important. Destiny Helpers Outreach .odu.com. You can donate now. Go to the website and you can check there for donations. Great cause, great organization. Love the work that TrudyAnn has the courage to go through. And I want to say courage because when you are leaping out and living in the space of obedience of your calling, it's not all pretty. It's not. It does present its challenges. However, when you have someone who is focused and consistent throughout the process, the universe has no other response but to respond positively to your efforts. So, TrudyAnn, thank you so much for joining us today. I am so excited to see what you are going to be engaging in next, and want to also encourage you all to like, share, and follow on Destiny Helpers Outreach on Instagram. That's where we get the most engagement, as we were told. But we thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule for sharing and joining us today. So, sending you virtual hugs and kisses. Please continue to do the work that you are purposed to do. So, enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Take care.
All right.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for joining today. So, good friends, good family, wanted to also share again. It is really important that when we have small businesses, specifically within a nonprofit space, that you are continuously encouraging to have them focus on doing the work that TrudyAnn and her team are engaged in does require some stuff, right? And so if you are aware of anyone who is specifically looking to be a part of this pageant that was mentioned earlier, please do not hesitate to like, share, check out Destiny Helpers Outreach on the website. So that will be one space. But there was a couple of things that was mentioned throughout the process of our conversation. One, the importance of self-care and what does that look like? When you're starting, sometimes it's just you. And sometimes you have to navigate, through a number of different spaces that will allow you to prepare and propel yourself into different spaces by moving forward. There's a level of focus and continual work that needs to be done as you're in this space. So it is important that you just make sure that you are taking care of yourself and that you are being guided and led by your purpose, right? Something that TrudyAnn mentioned about, the appearance of what's being presented on social media. It's not all negative, right? So I want to elevate that I believe, honestly, from my perspective, that these are tools to help you to grow your business, to elevate, right? But there is a focus that you have to have, that sometimes what people post or what people share is sometimes it doesn't add up, and you have to use the eye of discernment when you are entering into those different spaces. So do your checks and balances. Make sure that you fact check when you are considering to purchase even services that I offer. Check out to see if people actually purchased or actually learned from me. specifically. I know that I do good work, but I'm also just mindful about the space that I'm in as a business coach and consultant. I also serve in the space of government contracts, where I provide strategy and resources for small businesses. And so because I do have experience, in securing contracts, I know that there are certain spaces and things that I personally see on social media doesn't match up to what's being actually promoted. So be mindful. Your time, your attention is important. Be sure that you are fact checking all across the board. But also, if you are in business, consider, the clients that you're serving, consider the impact, and consider the results that you're looking to make as you are entering into this space. I often say that, this is not for the faint of heart. I've learned specifically more about who I am, who I'm becoming, just by virtue of launching into this business. And there have been times when I have not made a sale, right? I have not had clients. And for those times that I didn't, and I wasn't as active, I wound up working, within the business to ensure that my systems, or I need to write the right team, or, those other things were being worked on while I was in the process of securing my next client. And so while I share that, I want to also just mention, be consistent, be authentic, be who you are. But also what's most important for me, especially these days, is living in and on your purpose, right? If you can be in that space, be courageous, and walk boldly in who you are, it will work out. It will work out. So on that note, I want to thank you so much for joining another episode of the Real Journey of Entrepreneurship. I want you to like, share, and follow us on 11375, and we're on the platform. So please do follow us at 11375. And so until next time, thank you so much for joining us. Take good care. This week, I'm thinking about how dope it is to be in business for myself. Self-employment, business ownership, entrepreneurship, all that good stuff. And why I chose to be in that space. Actually, it wasn't my choice. It was something that I was forced into. But as I'm here in this space, I really think it's dope because I am creating things that I imagine, things that I write on a piece of paper, but it also helps to create, after the number of failures, a real boost of confidence that I have the ability to take something off of a piece of paper, take something that I typed in my phone, and then create it. Your mind is your biggest flex. Welcome to 11375. My name is Anita Pierce, and I am your Chief Experience Officer. At 11375, we offer strategic alignment solutions specific to you and your business goals, and also connecting everything with social impact. So if you are looking for a really amazing organization where we help you to focus your strategy and connecting it with social impact, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are on all the social platforms, and you can contact us at 11375.